Welcome to another episode of BridgeDaGap. I am C. This is Brandon, and I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
All right, cool. Uh, so in today's episode, we're going to talk about the black family. Um, More specifically, what can us men do better to lead our families? Because in today's society, uh, the black family kind of has a disconnect. We feel like, um, and I feel like honestly, the fathers, the men, we could play a huge role in that. So one of the things I think that we can do better as men for our families is to first and foremost establish a relationship with God if we haven't done so already, and basically just try to submit more to God, because if we do that, um, our family basically going to feel that trickle down effect. Um, and what I mean by that, once we start living a life according to God, our morals is going to change. Um, Stuff that we used to love, like distractions, I guess, that will take us away from our family or being present in our family lives a little bit more. We're going to start to hate those things. Um, so it's just certain stuff like that we can do to become better role models, definitely. Um, Another thing I have here is being more active in our children's lives. Um, and I know every father. Some fathers think that they can't offer their child or their children anything because they're not there financially. And being a father is much more than being there financially. You got to be present in their lives. Kids can't kids probably don't even care, at that young stage if you got it financially or not. They just looking for their dad to be present in their life. Um, what you think on that?
No, I agree with both points. I'll start with the first one. Um, I think for the family to be successful, the man has to submit to God, and God has to be his leader.
Right.
And that's the head of the family at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
everything you do should be based upon God's plan and what God's plan is for you.
Right.
Then from that stems down into the family. So, if you're building the foundation correctly,
Mm-hmm.
you'll really be able to build something on top of that.
Right.
So you build that foundation, and hopefully you choose wisely, because as you submit to God, and I will always stress this, your wife should be submitting to you.
Right.
But she should only be submitting to you if you're submitting to God,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only way that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you two on the same page and it's based on what it's supposed to be based on, then you can be successful.
Right.
Now, every situation is not perfect. So even as the man, you have to take that lead.
Mm-hmm.
You have to base everything on God. So even if you are married
Mm-hmm.
and your wife may not be there, you have to get her there.
Right.
So you have to bring her to God. So you can't just have her try to submit to you. You got to bring her to God.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show her that light first, and show her what things should be. And it's a simpler life.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easier life. But, nothing comes that easy. So you got to put some work in order to achieve that.
Right. Guess to piggyback a little bit off of what you just said, that you have to get your wife there to that point. That's like really, that's one thing us men can do better, because ideally we would want our that to be the case before we even ask to marry them.
Right.
Right.
Ideal situation.
Right.
Yes.
Ideal situation. Right.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's the case where some people get married first
Mm-hmm.
They're not as close to God.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say the man gets close to God and he started realizing the things that he's doing is wrong, the way he's leading their marriage is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the wife may not be on that tight time yet. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then, whatever he feels about that situation, like, oh, she may not be for me anymore, and stuff like
Mm.
that. Life happens. But at the end of the day, that's still no excuse for a divorce,
Agreed.
because you got to think of it. Not only are you you know disobeying God's word
Mm-hmm.
on divorce, but then you're breaking up your family,
Right.
man and woman, whoever
Mm-hmm.
decides to get to that point first. But you're like breaking up your family, and that was never intended, um, by God to happen in our community, just as a people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
Very true. Um, I think that's a big problem in our community is
Hmm.
the foundation of family.
Hmm.
Not too many people grew up in a two-parent home.
Right.
Um, like I'm sitting here thinking about it. I may be the only person. I'm sorry. I may be the only black person I know that came up that way.
Right.
When you having conversations, people will ask, are you with your mom or your dad? I'm like, what?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like now I'm sitting there thinking about it, like it it shouldn't be so uncommon though,
Hmm.
but it is. So like going back to what you were saying as far as also the fathers
Hmm.
being in the child's life, and as a father, I want to stress this to people too. It's not about money.
Right.
It's about time.
Hmm.
Like kids don't care how rich you are, how broke you are.
Hmm.
They just want you there. Like go to the park, do simple stuff. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um, but that's a whole different dynamic on the mother and father side.
Hmm.
There are, the statistics would lead us to believe that black men don't really want their children or aren't around for their children.
Hmm.
But I can tell you from experience and just talking to a lot of young men that actually want to be part of their children's life, sometimes the mothers aren't always open and receptive to that. And it's sad because no one talks about that.
Right.
So there's this
Right.
aspect of, and everybody wants to downplay the man like he's nothing.
Hmm.
Then there's certain scenarios where, if you don't do what I say, I'll go down to City Hall or, what I mean,
Right.
child support. So it becomes a threat. Like we don't have that respect for each other.
Hmm.
And also, it's about the children, it's not about the adults. Like if you made a child, you have to sit there, you both have to want to be in that child's life. And that should be the purpose, and that's what it should be about. But unfortunately, people use children against other people.
Hmm.
So it's a sad thing that no one really wants to speak on. But it's two sides of that coin. Now there are men
Hmm.
who aren't doing what they need to do, and they need to step up
Hmm.
because they're making us look bad. And the
For
child
sure.
needs the mother and father.
Hmm.
That's how it should be. You have one that's more the nurture, and one should be more the discipline.
Hmm.
There needs to be, that yin and yang to that scenario. And women need to
Sure.
understand, even if that man hurts you or, he's not doing what you want or he doesn't want you, don't hurt the child to try to
Hmm.
hurt him. Because
Right.
that's deep.
Hmm.
And then you're going to call something in that child, well, why doesn't my father want me, when that's really not the case?
Hmm.
So we need to get out of our feelings when it comes to that and be responsible and not not think so much selfish or I just want to hurt someone. You have a child, let's be responsible, do what's best for that child.
Right.
Both people, regardless of how it turned out. But I do want to stress, and this isn't going to be popular, if you're not married, If you are not married, I highly encourage abstinence. And
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds crazy, but just being older, I'm thinking back about,
Mm-hmm.
my life. I have no regrets about anything I did, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, people I know, we get in so much trouble doing things we probably really shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you put yourself in situations where a lot could be avoided if you just took your time. And I know, it's not like I did it,
Mm-hmm.
but if I could give someone that advice, sometimes slow down. You want to date, that's cool, get to know somebody, but your goal should be marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The goal should not trying to get 15 different joints.
Right.
I know that's what society's always pushing, but that's not the come up for you. That's not the come up for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just self destructive behavior.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point that you brought up. You brought up a few good points, but the one with it's not a cool look for us men to be so prideful about how many women that we have or we have had, or
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. That's not a good look, because that's a double standard. Like, we can't be prideful about that and then turn around and don't want our woman.
Mm.
Like, we're so quick, us men, to call a girl a hoe or a whore
Yeah,
if she messing with two dudes at one time, But
yeah.
on the flip side, we'll be doing our thing, all these different women, and
Mm-hmm.
it's glorified in our community for some reason. And a lot of that has to, we go back to the drawing board. Where does that start? That
Mm.
starts with us men becoming better father figures, becoming better role models in our
Mm-hmm.
community, to tell other brothers that's not cool. Never been cool. Never. Now, like you said, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We made plenty of mistakes of our own, but going back, I wish I was, you know, a virgin too, because I wish I would have did things right. Because when you mess up and start having sex with other people before marriage,
Mm-hmm.
you can get tied to that person, and then much unrealistic expectations get put on both parties,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And if people are dating, let's use that as an example. People are
Mm-hmm.
dating, they having sex. Um, all right, more expectations gonna come. All right, we having sex now. You can pay some of my bills.
Right. Yeah.
Or from a man's point of view, are we having sex now? All right, can she cook now? Like, but in all
True.
reality, she's not obligated. Like, we're not obligated to pay your bills,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not obligated to cook for us.
True.
So
Mm-hmm.
if we learned how to have more discipline as a whole, now that's easier said than done. But if we start to have that discipline and start instilling that in our children growing up,
Mm-hmm.
teaching them the right way, the way that we probably haven't been taught, or just in general, our surroundings, it was just like so glorified. But we had that opportunity to flip the script.
Yeah. True.
Like, hey, that's not cool. Um, you know, show respect, more respect to a woman, or show more respect to a man. This is how you carry yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they learn that at? They can learn that at home,
Yeah. That's where they should be learning it.
right?
But unfortunately, that, like you said, that family unit is not whole.
Exactly.
So
That's a disconnect.
you may have a father there, or if he is, he might be running around doing stuff, or
Hmm.
and your mom's there, but she's going out every Friday with a different
Exactly.
dude. So
Exactly.
it's hard for you to get that moral base if you don't see it.
Right. And this is like part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, so we can shed light on it. Because as brothers, as we have, I don't have any kids yet, but I know when I do have kids, my son is going to know how to treat a woman by how I treat my wife. He's going to learn discipline.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to learn all these things that young men should learn growing up in a two-parent household. My daughter is going to learn how a man should treat a woman by how I treat her mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, certain stuff. Make sure the guy opens the door for you. Stuff like that. You'll be surprised nowadays. Women got to open up their own doors. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, at the same time, they'll tell you, "I don't need you to open my door."
That's true
That's
too.
a weird one. I
That's
was
true.
like, "Wait, what?" That's what I do. No, I don't need you.
Right.
To,
That's what
like,
she
I'm
do.
just trying to open the door. Like, I ain't trying
Right.
to say you can't do it.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
That's another. That's a different conversation too,
Yeah, it
because
is.
like
Standards.
a lot of women now not allowing men to be men.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, that's why I said that's a whole
Yeah,
different ball game that
man.
we'll tap into.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I just feel like we always have the power to change, but that starts with us. Um, and once us men, can be better leaders, be better examples, submit to God,
Hmm.
because once we can like fully do that, 100%, am certain that we can produce a better family and we can produce a better community. So,
True. I think, like you said, it starts with the man.
mhm,
You submit to God. You're basing what you do upon God. You find the woman who is going to abide by that
mhm,
and subscribes to that, and she has to play her part in that too. Like you said,
right,
the man's not perfect. She's there to help steer the ship
mhm,
too. So where he may fall or falter a little bit, she's there to help correct that.
mhm,
You two should be on the same path, and with that, she should understand your struggle
mhm,
and be there to support you. So
right,
she should be an asset to
mhm,
help you in life. At the same time, that will, like you were explaining, when you have children, that will trickle down to the children.
mhm,
So they'll see and they'll come up in a positive situation instead of a toxic environment.
right,
And that's what we have a lot going on right now,
mhm,
that people were brought up in toxic situations that don't know that they're toxic. To them, it's
right,
normal.
right,
So then when you try to go out in the world and date, someone who didn't come up in an abnormal environment, it's
mhm,
difficult. And, sometimes you try to help that person, but if they don't know what they're doing is toxic, they'll never understand.
right,
And it's sad because, some of them are really good people,
mhm,
but they're never going to get what they really want because they can't address those things. Because they saw in
yeah,
their
that's
family, well, everybody's dysfunctional in my family. Well, they
right,
won't know they're dysfunctional. You know
right,
what I mean? Then
right.
somebody looking outside like, y'all are crazy. And I don't want any parts of this.
Yeah, that's crazy because like you were saying, if somebody grow up in that toxic environment, you come along and say, you know what, 2 plus 2 is really 4, right?
Mm. Mm-mm.
It's not 10. It's
No.
not 1. It's not 5.
No, my family says 85.
She can be like, what? Right?
It's
like what you talking about?
yeah.
Like
Something
you
so
want
basic.
some weird stuff? Like
Yeah, something so super and basic that you
Yeah.
would think like no one does this. We all do this. You don't do this?
Mm.
Your family don't do? No. Yeah, that's a kicker right there.
But
man.
some people, men and women, just love that toxic stuff.
Yeah,
They like the thrill of it for whatever reason, but
because they came
Um,
up in it. Like
right.
that's normal. That's how some people communicate.
hmm
Like me, I don't like to argue.
right.
Like I think I raised my voice one time, and I
Mhm.
hated it. You know what I mean? Because that ain't me. Like
Right.
I didn't like how that felt.
hmm
Like I was shaking afterwards. Like yo, I can't believe I just got that mad that I had to like raise my voice.
Right.
I was like, no, I need to step away from this situation.
hmm
But for certain people, that's just how they talk. They think that's love. They think, somebody arguing or talking down to them or things of that nature
hmm
is just so common for them.
Right.
And you need to really check yourself on those situations. And kind of what you said before, as far as doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Now, having sex, and I can tell you from experience
hmm
that I would end up staying with someone longer than I really should have.
hmm
Like, because of that tie that you were talking about,
hmm
you know what I mean? It's not authentic.
hmm
It's just that physical thing
hmm
that You know that person. You know you shouldn't be with them. But, whatever. So you may end up being with them a year when you know you should have left them like 8 months ago. And
Yeah,
like I said, no one's perfect. It's just those things that you need to be on guard about. And
for
if
sure.
you could reduce certain things and temptations, you'd be in a better situation.
Yeah. Um, a lot of people are unaware of, especially if they're not really God fearing.
Mm,
What a lot of people are unaware of is that evil spirits can really latch on to you
mm,
with any sin in general. That's how people can become so addicted to sin because
yes.
it's not a good spirit. It's that evil spirit, like just attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even a verse in the Bible, I believe, that talks about we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against the principalities, the evil spirits of the world, the wickedness of the world. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we wrestle against.
Yep.
So if we're not careful and we're doing things, not according to God's word, being disobedient, we can easily fall into that trap, whether we realize it or not. So now that evil spirit can be in somebody, they having sex, two people having sex, and they know that situation is toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it can cause somebody to stay longer than they need to.
Mm-hmm.
It's that evil spirit, attacking us on the inside, and once we start to get into that mindset of trying to like, first of all, we gotta want to get out of that mindset. We
That's
gotta,
it. That's step one.
right? We
Mm-hmm.
gotta want to, get out of that. We gotta hate that.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta try to pray to God and really get out of that situation. And once we do that and we're genuine about it, He'll make a way. Um,
Yep.
Speaking off of experience, I was in that situation before myself, but after like much prayer, God can really start to
Mm-hmm.
change your heart and your feelings and to hate certain stuff that you used to love.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I said, this is it's much easier said than done.
Oh, oh,
Like I
oh
said, we
yeah.
all been there,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's just about you gotta want to come out of that. You gotta want to not be in that toxic mind state.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy is once you get out of that and you look back on it, you're like, yo,
right.
wow. Like I can't believe I was in that. And you look back on it, it's like I would like it's just something you don't even want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even look at it like, oh, I kind of missed that. You're like, yeah, I can't believe I was doing that.
That foolish, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Like, dang, yeah. Whew, yeah.
Yeah. It's now think about it. It's another scripture that says something about that. Like, I think it's Titus 3:3. You know, sometimes we were sometimes foolish, disobedient, serving divers lusts. But
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing a little bit,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
were saved by the grace of God. So
Yeah.
we all been there, but it's all about wanting to turn your life around for
Mm-hmm.
God, and once that happens, you'll see how He can change your life. So,
Yeah. Once you make that choice, you really have to own it. Then that's
hmm
pretty much it.
right,
Like it's going to be some stuff, but you're going to be so much better off after
hmm
you do that.
right,
But you got to mean it though.
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
that's
you can't dibble back and forth. Like if you're going this way, you got to go this way. That's
right,
it.
and you know, you'll mess up along the way.
Oh yeah.
Um, but even when you mess up, it's not gonna feel the same no more. You're gonna start to you'll start to feel God working on you because you're gonna feel
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, like I really ain't mean to do this, or like,
Yeah.
dang, like this
Yeah.
don't feel the same no more. Like, so He gonna start changing your heart and your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see,
They'll correct that course real quick.
right,
Like before, it wouldn't have been nothing. As soon as you did, like, yo,
right.
all right, I got it. Like, I got it.
But
All right,
yeah,
cool.
but yeah, that's it. Like that's what I feel like us men can do better.
Mm-hmm.
To help lead our families. So I hope you guys can relate to us and maybe take this advice as we're still trying to become better leaders for
Mm-hmm.
our families as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not perfect whatsoever.
Please wait. Please wait. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to hear it. You're like, yo, what's he talking about? Please, I'm telling you, please wait. Do do things the right way.
Right.
It's not what everybody's peddling to you out there in the real world. It's BS. It's not real. Turn to the Bible. Look,
Right.
I know. Friday night, turn to the Bible, right? That's going to guide you.
Our flesh don't want it, but
Yeah, like I said, I understand. I understand, but you'll be so better off. And what you'll have will be so much better. But, easier said than done.
Right.
Hopefully somebody listens to this and takes heed, so,
Right.
That's the hope.
If you're looking to take a step into the right direction on your fitness and health goals, check out blessthecut.com. That's blessthecut.com. If you're looking for a virtual trainer or you're trying to come out with a workout tailored for you and your lifestyle, please check out blessthecut.com. And at the same time, if you're trying to improve your personal, professional, or financial life, please check out www.hiphopmanor.com. That's hiphopmanor.com. And also, as a free resource, check out the YouTube channel Hip Hop Manor. Thank you.